Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Carrying on with Babul Anjas. This chapter is speaking about impurity and how to cleanse it. And we spoke about how a person should be, before performing salah, he should make sure that his body is clean, his thawb or his garment is clean, and his buq'ah, the place where he wants to perform salah, is clean. After speaking about that, then inshallah today I'll summarize the mas'ala that we had gone into yesterday, bearing in mind that in the madhab itself there is a difference of opinion amongst the ai in the madhab. Firstly, when after speaking about najasa being required to be removed, they mention that there's some najasa which may be forgiven, which they say ma'fu an, overlooked. And why do they say that? Because it's very difficult. This is the reasoning. It's very difficult that a person, his clothes, his shoes, etc., may be completely free of najasa. And bearing in mind, in those days, it's not like they had the running water we have today in terms of taps or faucets. They didn't have drainage. They didn't have a lot of things that we have. I mean, they were still riding animals. Animals, as you know, on the road, wherever they want to pass urine and stool, they do it. So you've got to bear that in mind also when they speak about these masail. Somebody might say, oh, you know, these days we have this, this, and this. These masail are not only speaking about these days. Also, in the same breath, these are all ni'am and virtues of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's given us that we should be grateful for. Imagine today you want to make wudu, you don't have to go half an hour, 1 hour walking to collect water. If you want to go to the bathroom, these days the bathroom and the toilets are in the houses. In those days they used to leave the house and they used to go to a far off place, and then they would come back. So this is all this ease in life that we all live at the moment is from Allah, and we should be grateful for it. So when it comes to this najasa, in the Hanafi madhab, they tell you that there's two types of najasa. First is what they call mughallada. Second is mukhaffafa. Mughallada means, you could say, major, from the word ghalid, heavy. Okay, major. And mukhaffafa is minor. Okay. Now, they tell you, according to the madhab, what's considered to be najasa mughallada. First, they tell you is blood. Okay, dam. Second, they tell you is urine. However, they stipulate from an animal or from a living thing that is not edible. So, for example, urine of a human being, urine of a lion, for example, or wild animal, something that you can't eat. Okay. The third is stool, gha'it. That's from any animal, regardless of whether it's edible or not. They say it's mughallada, it's major impurity. Now, what you must remember, some of the other madhahib, they say that urine and stool from animals that are edible, some of them say it's clean, not even najis. They say it's clean. They have the evidence. So here we're talking about a Hanafi madhab. So you've got blood and you've got urine from an animal that is not edible, and you've got stool. And number 4, they tell you al-khamr. Khamr is wine or alcohol or intoxicants. They say, the Hanafi madhab, they tell you that it's major impurity. some of the other madhahib, or in fact, not even the madhahib, there's some opinions of some of the scholars that say khamr is, yes, it's haram to consume intoxicants, haram to consume, one opinion only. However, they say that it's not najis. So according to them, if some alcohol had to fall on you, and it can happen where you're sitting in an aeroplane, for example, and the person next to you might be drinking, and they drop their bottle, and that alcohol falls on your garment. And the Hanafi madhab tell you is major impurity. You can't read salah if it's more than a dirham. Others say that no, khamr is not najis. It's clean, haram to consume, but clean. And built upon that, some of them tell you that the perfumes that we have today, they would be permissible to use. I mean, the spray perfumes. And there's those who will also say that khamr is najis. However, when it comes to our perfumes, they'll tell you that's synthetic alcohol. It's not real alcohol, and it's just there so you can spray. Once the spray is gone, it's finished. The alcohol evaporates, its job is done. So some of them are also of the opinion that khamr is najis. However, what's in the perfumes is synthetic alcohol that comes out. And there's a third opinion. There's those who actually say that using these perfumes is impermissible. So that's just for you general knowledge. So according to the Hanafi madhab, najasa mughalladah, if it reaches a person's garment, equivalent to a dirham or less. Now they differ when it comes to specifying this dirham. Is it the size of the palm? Is it according to the weight, whatever it may be? But so you know the mas'ala, they say that when a person goes to the bathroom for number 2, you're allowed to make istijmar, where you use, in those days they say rocks or stones, or you can use water, or you can use both. Now today we've got water and what's similar in terms of toilet paper, etc. However, if a person only used stones at the time or toilet paper at the time, they tell you that there's still a little bit of najasa that remains, and they estimate it to be the size of a dirham. So you could say the size of a coin, a dollar coin, a coin like this. So they tell you, if you've got najasa, which is mughallada, equivalent to a dirham or less on your thobe, then it's ma'fuun an. They'll say it's forgiven. Okay? And they tell you, if it's najasa mukhaffafa, now they come to what's known as najasa mukhaffafa. For example, they tell you the urine of animals that are edible. So for example, somebody looks after sheep, or somebody looks after camels, and they go into the pen, and some urine gets on their throat. They say when it comes najasa mukhaffafa, they say up to a quarter of the garment is allowed. Okay, up to a quarter of the garment is allowed. So for example, if a person had, let's say, sheep urine on their sleeve, just this much, they could read salah in it. Is it najis? Yes, but they say it's najasa mukhaffafa. And when it comes to this one, they say najasa mughallada, and they give a few more examples when it comes to najasa mukhaffafa. And after that, they give you a third category where they say there's certain things that even though a person, they may be disliked or frowned upon, but they're not najis. And they tell you, for example, blood from a fish. Blood from a fish. So if a person's fishing or they catch a fish and the blood came out on their thobe, more than a dirham, less than a dirham, it's okay. Also, when it comes to the saliva of a donkey. Why? Because they used to ride donkeys in those days, and the donkey would, for example, it wants to clean itself, or it licks the person's shoe, etc. Say there's no najasa involved. Any questions when it comes to what we've taken? Any questions? Are you guys understood?
Understood, Sheikh.
Ahsantum. Inshallah, tomorrow will be the last lesson in fiqh. That we'd have taken the main masail in Kitab al-Tahara. And then hopefully next week, we'll go through some of the adhkar as well as a little bit of tafsir, inshallah. And nahu until we reach a point where we can stop properly. Ibrahim, inshallah, we'll look at that mas'ala when it comes to food and drink, inshallah.
Sheikh, can you repeat that donkeys part? Like,
according to them, the saliva of a donkey or a mule, it's not considered to be najis. Well, so say rumum al-balwa. It's something that people wrote, and then it's something that was a constant issue. So they said that it's not najis. There's other madhahib that say that it's najis. Bearing in mind that you can't eat a donkey, that's where the difference of opinion comes, because we agree that you're not allowed to eat a donkey. After that, would we then consider its saliva and its sweat to be najis or not? There's a difference of opinion. Hanafi madhab, they tell you that it's not najis.
so milk of a donkey is also najis?
Pardon?
Milk of a donkey.
Again, that's a masala that is differed upon, and they use milk of a donkey for, they say, for certain diseases, especially in the for the children. In the Hanafi madhab, I'm not sure about milk from the donkey. I know some of the madhahib allow it, others don't, but I'm not sure which one is which at the current moment. Wallahu a'lam. But people do use milk from the donkey. They say, especially for young children, there's some sort of disease and they make them drink it, and apparently they get cured. Wallahu a'lam. Any other question? Carrying on. We move on to sarf, nahu, in grammar. We had taken marfu', and then we started on mansub. And so far, mansub, we took fatha. So a word may be is mansub. A word may be mansub with fatha. And we took how many alam ghair here? 3. What are they?
يا شيخ في الاسم المفرد وجمع
Yes.
التكثير والفعل المضارع إذا دخل عليه ناصب ولم يتصل بآخره شيء.
So next we took kasra. And we said at times this fatha may be unable to come to show us that this word is mansub. It occurs in one condition when? Or one instance.
Yeah, جمع المؤنث السالم.
جمع المؤنث السالم. So for example, as-samawat. Samawatu is marfu' with dhamma. And samawati, Allahu alladhi خلق السماوات والأرض. Look at this. Allahu alladhi, Allah is the one who created, meaning fi'l and fa'il. السماوات is مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه الكسرة. Why? Because جمع مؤنث سالم. And أرض is also مفعول به, but because it's not جمع مؤنث سالم, it will take a fatha, اسم مفرد. سماوات والأرض. The number 3 is alif. So at times, fatha may be unable to come to show you that the word is mansub, so they give you an alif. And when is that? when it comes to asma'ul khamsah, the same asma'ul khamsah that we took 5 nouns. So akhuka, abuka, hanuka, fuka, dhu malin. So for example, if say ja'a abuka, your father came, fa'il, marfu' wa alamat rafi' al-waw. Why? Because asma'ul khamsa. What if you want to say I saw your father? رأيت, you say أباك, منصوب وعلامة نصبه الألف. Why? Because it's from أسماء الخمسة. رأيت أباك. Another example, your brother came, جاء أخوك. أخوك مرفوع وعلامة رفعه واو. Why? Because جمع مذكر. Because it's من أسماء الخمسة. Say رأيت أخاك. أخاك منصوب وعلامة نصبه الألف. رأيت, say جاء ذو مال. ذو مال is فاعل. And what shows us is مرفوع, the fact that it got a wow. رأيت ذا مال. I saw person who possesses wealth. That ذا is now منصوب. Why مفعول به? Why is it, how is it منصوب? منصوب with ألف. Why? Because it's from أسماء الخمسة. رأيت أخاك. رأيت ذا مال, etc. So it's فتحة, كسرة, ألف. And I think we'll take this one tomorrow. In fact, it's quite easy. At times, you may not be able to, Fatha may be unable to come. Instead, they send Ya. Okay? When is that? When you've got a noun that is dual. Okay? So you say Ja'a Muslimani when it's marfu'. Ja'a Muslimani. Muslimani is marfu'. Why? Because fa'il. What shows us marfu'? The fact that it has an alif. Okay? 2 Muslims came. And you say ra'aytu, which means I saw, that's already fi'l and fa'il. And the 2 Muslims will be maf'ul bi. Maf'ul bihi is mansub. However, it's not going to be mansub with fatha. It's going to be mansub with ya. Ra'aytu muslimaini. Muslimaini. مسلمين منصوب وعلامة نصبه, it shows as منصوب يا. Why? Because it's تثنية. And then inshallah tomorrow take the 5th one, which is to do with فعل مضارع.
Sheikh, I have a
And
question.
yeah.
When we say رأيت أباك, then okay, it is mansub wa alamati raf'ihi alif, but the meaning is the same as رأيت أبوك.
No, you can't. So the rule is you've got to differentiate in your sentences. So you've got 2 types of sentences in Arabic. You've got jumla ismiya, which is sentences made up of nouns only. And you've got jumla fi'liya, sentences made that contains a verb. Okay? Ismiya, the sentence structure. So if I tell you, you've got 2 types of buildings. One building is made of cement and bricks, and the other building is made of glass. 2 completely different buildings, which means that the rules they used in order to build these buildings are different. Okay? Bear that concept in mind. So jumla ismiya, the whole sentence. Now, jumla means sentence. One word, Zaydun, is not a sentence. Muhammadun is not a sentence. Huwa is not a sentence. So, in order for you to get a full sentence in jumla ismiya, it needs to have 2 parts to it. The first is called mubtada, and the second, there's a plus sign, is called khabar. Mubtada is literally from ibtida, meaning something to begin. So mubtada is the beginning part of the sentence. The beginning part of the sentence alone does not give you the full information of the sentence. Hence, it's not a sentence. So, for example, Zaydun. What did you understand from Zaydun? Nothing. You just understood nothing. There's no beneficial information in that sentence. Now, when it comes to grammar, nahu, mubtada will always be marfu'. Mubtada will always be marfu'. And khabar literally means news. So what you're trying to tell a person, khabar will always be marfu' also. So now, if you make a sentence from nouns only, for example, say Zaydun. Zaydun is mubtada. Zaydun is marfu'. It's always marfu'. Why? Because mubtada is always marfu'. Remember this. And if you want to give us a full sentence, tell us something about Zayd. So you say Zaydun qa'imun. Zayd is standing. Qa'imun is khabar. It's the news of Zayd. What's Zayd doing? He's standing. Now you've got a full sentence, something that makes sense. Qa'imun is khabar. Khabar is always marfu'. And you carry on like that. Zaydun qa'imun, Muhammadun na'imun, etc., etc., etc. Notice how grammatically always marfu'. Right. Mubtada could be one word. It could be a sentence made into a word, and you'll take that later. For now, just understand here, marfu', marfu'. Right. Now, jumla fi'liya, what's the sentence structure? Sentence structure is you've got a fi'l, you've got a verb, okay? And you've got a fa'il. Fa'il is the doer of that verb. What's a verb? A verb is an action word. So you're saying there's an action that occurred. Fa'il is the person who did that action. And you've got maf'ul bih. Maf'ul bih is the object. Who did this action fall on? So if you say here, maf'ul bih, let's say object, okay? Now, sometimes fi'l and fa'il you'll understand, okay? Without maf'ul bih. Now, when it comes to the i'rab, when it comes to the grammatical ruling, yes, correct, subject, object, correct. When it comes to the grammatical ruling, right? The fi'l, madi, past tense will always be mabni. It's just built in one way, however it originally is. Mudari' is what may change to marfu' or mansub as you've been taking. So if it's got no extra, it could be marfu' yadribu. Or if and if it has a jazim and nasib, it could be adribah, etc. But here's the verb. Then you've got fa'il. Fa'il is always marfu'. Now, when you learned marfu', you said something could be marfu' with a dhamma, or it could be marfu' with wow, or it could be marfu' with alif, etc. Okay? And maf'ul bih is always mansub, always, forever and forever and forever. Take this as the law, it doesn't change. So now, if you say ja'a, ja'a is the fi'l, okay? Means ja'a literally means came, he came. Who came, okay? You say abuka, ja'a abuka. Why didn't you say ja'a abaka? Because abuka is fa'il, and fa'il must always be marfu'. And because it's from asma'ul khamsa, it's marfu' with wow. You cannot say ja'a abaka, ever. Never, ever, ever. Because that's grammatically wrong. Grammatically wrong. Ja'a abuka. Your father came. Fi'l and fa'il. Ra'aytu. Now look at the word ra'aytu. Now sometimes you can have a fi'l and the fa'il is joined to it, what they call a dhamir, like a pronoun, he, she, they, etc. So the verb here is ra'a, he saw, but you say ra'aytu, means I saw. So you've got the verb, fi'l, and this ta is showing us who did it, so that's fa'il, the doer, I. So you saw something. Who's doing the action? You're saying, I'm doing the action. I am the one seeing. Okay, what did you see? What did your eyesight fall on? I saw your father. رأيت أباك. You can't say رأيت أبوك ever, because this is مفعول به. مفعول به is always منصوب. And here it's mansub with alif because it's asma'ul khamsa. If it was Zaid, you would say رأيت زيدا. You can never say رأيت زيد or رأيت زيد ever. Do you understand?
يا شيخ. رأيت رجالا رأيت زيدا. Yeah.
رأيت رجالا رأيت زيدا أخذت أقلاما. Like that. Understood? Any more questions? Yes, فعل is the verb, فاعل is the doer. مفعول به is the one whom this verb or action was done on.
From أسماء الخمسة, when we say رأيت أباك أخاك حماك and ذا مال and what is for فاك? Okay.
فوك فاك. Yeah.
Sheikh, what is the exact meaning of ذا مال ذو مال?
Dhu is just a word to mean somebody who owns something.
Like
Dhu
what? Okay.
baitin, dhu malin, dhu. So saying that has a special grammatical rule. That's all.